Dominique Heck grew up in the French-speaking part of Belgium. She now lives in Melbourne on the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. Dominique writes across genres and disciplines, and sometimes across tongues. Her creative works include a novel, 5 collections of short stories, and 12 books and chapbooks of poetry. She's received many honours and prizes for her writing and the spoken word performance. A runner-up in the 2022 Carmel Bird Digital Award, Smacked and Other Stories of Addiction is her latest book in English. And the second edition of Dominique's After Cage is going to be published by Liquid Amber Press later this year. Thank you, Dominique.
Thank you so much, Rose. I'd like to read from a new work which has nothing to do with ekphrasis, but is moving towards sound ekphrasis. It's a sequence of poems in 16 moments, and so I'm going to read the first 4 sections, and it is called Autopos. 1. Lulled by the night's lingering breath, the city hibernates. Funneling wind at your back, you skirt the creek. Follow the trickle of bruises the light leaves in its wake. You take the path down to the bridge, the new sun enfolded in fog. Eucalyptus rustles, reeds rumour. Australian wood ducks, chestnut teals, and the lone hardhead on corrugated water. Magpie larks chatter in a she-oak. A Nankeen night heron darts in your path, as if to say, you don't exist. Under the bridge, a black swan on a nest intermeshed with plastic. Now the wind embraces you. Mud sucks at your boots. Suck, suck, suck. Rainbow lorikeets, fairy corellas, and musk lorikeets clatter about. You climb the escarpment, here, creeping, bent grass, English broom, arm lily, prickly pear, periwinkle, overflow garden fences, gusts of wind through veils of bridal creeper and poison ivy. 2. Walk with me, says the voice, drowning in its own rasping sound. You become it, the voice, a shape-shifter like the creek itself, brimming with unspoken thoughts, voiceless bubbles, breathless refuse. Waterfall, murky calm where the path tilts and narrows. Here, the water curves and swerves in its own bed, pulls at silt. The current pushes it out, unseen against the sunken stepping stones. Here, the water swirls, froths, falls and rushes towards the edge. Land of daydream, towards the imagination of the page. 3. A wattled bird babbles on the other side of the window. I replenish the water bowl, spot a honey eater hopping about in the fuchsia. My hand yawns. It is a beak opening, water breaking at the touch of a feather. I am a magpie, warble a water bird prattle. I feel for the shape of a poem. I live and work on the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin nation, the sovereignty of which was never ceded. I acknowledge its traditional custodians, offering respect and gratitude to their ancestors, elders, and families, past, present, and in perpetuity. Australia always was and always will be Aboriginal land. I feel shame, not quite guilt, for knowing so little about the languages, cultures, and customs of the Kulin nation, for purloining the bird's call, for naming it Babu, to unwrite the I from the poem. Think of it. 4. Words are possums crawling up the walls of silence. They have razor-sharp claws. They pounce. They can see in the dark. They will poke the apple of your eye, hook your mouth shut, rip you to shreds, tear up your dreams one letter at a time. Pause. Consider the damage to the root of your tongue. Don't worry, they will burst the blisters tenderly. At dawn, they'll scuttle around the idea of noise. Then they will burrow under the vault of your ribs and nibble at the chambers of your heart. Here, they will persuade you to shrug off your graphomania, glossolalia, xenolalia, tendency to anaphora and apocrypha. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dominique. Goodness, that was almost incantatory. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you. Okay, our next reader tonight is Sarah Mokriski. Hello, Sarah. Nice to see you.
Hi.
Yeah, Sarah is actually a colleague of mine. She teaches children's literature and creative writing at Victoria University. And Sarah, the bio you sent us says you'd recently submitted your PhD, but I think I can absolutely blab and say this week she received her PhD. So Dr. Sarah, congratulations, and it's absolutely wonderful. Her PhD was
Thank you.
on the importance of family diversity in picture books. So wonderful to have you here tonight, Sarah. Over to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Rose. I'd like to start by paying my respects to the Eastern Ma and Wadawurrung people. I live in the Corongamite Shire, which is roughly 2 hours away from where our campus is, Rose. And these are the unceded lands of the traditional custodians there, and I pay my respects to them as well as all First Nation elders and peoples past, present and future. I have just one poem to share with you tonight. It's actually quite a short one, but I had so much fun with it because as Rose mentioned about teaching creative writing at BU, one of the poems that I give my students to read is The Applicant by Sylvia Plath, if anyone is familiar with that one. And so this poem is kind of like a response to that. And I've called it simply in honour of Sylvia Plath. Welcome, welcome, come right in. Sit, sit. Yes, comfy, isn't it? Have I got a prize for you? Great little model, this one. A few kilometres in the old odometer. But who of us hasn't, am I right? No? No? Well, how about this? Absolute beauty, this one. Yes, gorgeous, isn't she? Stubborn? Well, yes, stubborn, but aren't they all? Ha ha. Just needs the right man, a bit of training. Yes, yes, have a good look. No? No, okay. I've saved my best for last, our youngest model, still very pliable. Oh, naive? Oh, yes. and none of that hardness of the older models. Takes no offence when you ask her to smile. Won't cause a scene or make a fuss. She'll laugh it off, you see. And so much more intact too. Look at that, just look. That's right, turn around, sweetheart. She's a firm little thing, isn't she? Yes, yes, have a good look. Touch? Why, yes, by all means. Get a good feel. So, what do you think? Is this the one? And that's it from me.
Well, it's been a big week for you, Sarah, and congratulations again, and thank you. I can
Thank you so much.
certainly hear the applicant, so it's interesting being in dialogue with different kinds of other art forms. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker tonight is Julian Matthews. Hello, Julian. Julian is a former journalist from Malaysia who, he says, stumbled into poetry by accident 5 years ago. Is it ever an accident, though? That happy accident has turned into a rabid compulsion. He's still extricating himself from that crash. Welcome to his recovery. Thanks, Julian. Over to you.
Hi, thank you for having me. This is called The Rain in Ukraine. Somewhere in Sumatra, Indonesia, the earth shook today. It's 6.2 on the Richter scale. It's a couple of 100 miles away, but we felt the tremors here in Malaysia. I felt woozy for a few seconds, but it wasn't from the quake. The goddamn neighbor above is retiling. The drilling is so loud, it's like a giant dentist using a jackhammer for a wisdom tooth extraction for a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And I'm bitching about it like a nervous patient in the waiting room. This lockdown has magnified the noise. I'm mad as hell and yelling at the ceiling. Meanwhile, somewhere in Ukraine, bombs are raining down from the sky, hitting apartment blocks just like mine. A photo of a woman emerges on the news with a hastily bandaged head, her face streaked in dried blood, her world-weary, vacant blue eyes carrying the sorrow of a million mothers from wars before. No time to run, no time to hide, not even time to cry out. And I imagine somewhere in the bowels of the Kremlin, in a pristine nuclear-proof bunker, Putin is tinkling ivories to the tune of Moscow windows to match his hammer heart, his sickle soul. He's stepping on shiny golden petals while shiny boots trample the muddied, bloodied grounds of Kiev. This new hero is no one's hero. Nothing more than an effing zero. He's probably having Ukrainian borscht for his supper, slurping it down with black caviar and beluga vodka while monitoring the invasion on a live screen where thousands are about to die in his name and millions are about to be displaced, all for one man's misplaced ego. Dictators don't like being dictated to. Diplomacy only works when the buttons are real and attached to a nuclear device. It's the old binary. You're either with us or against us, right or left, black or white, Christian or Muslim, Shia or Sunni, Arab or Jew, Russian or Ukrainian, peace or war. Here is the line in the sand. Watch them cross it every time, again and again. The opposite of love is not hate. It's ingrates too full of themselves. Love is too abstract a concept for the entitled, the privileged, the super rich, the power mad. Violence begets violence. Biden will do a head fake about sanctions, then don his G.I. Joe duds, bite the bullet, and send his newly adopted sons and daughters to their early graves, as if the pandemic hasn't filled enough of those already. War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. And the drillers upstairs have stopped. And there is silence. The wife is all packed. She says she's off to a 3-day meditation retreat. And she worries whether I'll be able to feed myself properly. I reassure her I'll be okay. I'm a big boy. She leans over to kiss me, mask still on, then steps out the door. I return to my laptop and my tiny world order of disorder is restored while somewhere in the world tonight. Men we call our leaders are gathering around a table, flexing their arms, their military muscles, throwing young lives into a hat so they can tell us they are big boys too. And online I read that the Ukrainian woman with the blood-streaked face is a teacher. She's 53. Her name is Helena, which means bright, shining light. Outside my window, it begins to rain again. End poem. Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. Goodness, what a powerful poem. Thank you so much. And thank you both Julian and Anne Elvie for speaking about the current situation. Poetry can do so much, can't it? It's not just an aesthetic or not real world thing. It's actually a response to the life we're living now. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, our next speaker tonight is Marula Radisavljevic. I hope I've said that correctly, Marula. Marula is a writer of poetry, children's stories, and memoirs. She comes from a Greek Cypriot background. She studied social sciences in Charles University in Prague, Czech Republic, and migrated to Australia with her family at the age of 27 and made a career in computers, accounting, and teaching the Greek language. Her poems have been published in anthologies and magazines. She loves languages and translating, arts and textiles, cooking, nature exploring, and, speaking of Helena, Greek mythology. Thank you, Marula. Over to you.
Thank you for having me tonight. Such a wonderful night. So many beautiful poems there. My poem tonight is called Imagining Home. Home, sweet home, where is home? I ask different people, a mosaic of cultures. Where is home? Is it in their food? Is it in their wine? A safe place? Is it permanent or ephemeral feelings? Let me paint home with all my senses and all my colors of my palette. They say home is the place to grow. Smiling daisies, the wind blew them. Their seeds fell and buried under the weeds. Someone stepped on them. Are they home? Will they germinate? What is a home? A refugee is seeking a new home. Traveled 3 boats and walked 50 miles, leaving his heart behind. Is he at home? It took me 2 trains and 4 trams to arrive. Am I home yet? I crossed so many borders. Your nation came and captured my home. Oh, and it's now your home. A long desert in front of me, a hot horizon leading to home. I passed 1,000 steps to find home and still counting. Home is safety, they say, a house built by a couple when they get married to start their family in it. I asked the woman who was beaten and bruised and silently suffered domestic violence, is she at home? I asked the seagull, where is home? Is it the seashore and the whisper of the small, shallow waves? Or is it the endless ocean and its magical song calling you? I asked the frogs in the puddle that sing in the rain. I asked the birds when their nest was ruined by the wind and their eggs fell and broke. Where is home? When season ends, they fly away seeking a new home. Where is home? Is it where you found love and safety with your parents, but you lost your parents? The home is empty, full of memories haunting you. Can a home die? Can it be reborn with the sounds of sad violins? I passed by the street where I worked and lived for years, and it was my home. But now it felt weird, and I shivered as I recovered memories. Is it in my memories? Is it a house? Perhaps where I was born. Oh yes, but don't let me cry. The little girl that plays in the fields of nothing, chasing dragonflies. And there is no music, no sound, just faraway seagulls, and only one voice in herself, and the echo between the hills. The little girl in her mother's hug, that was her home. Home was in the olive groves I grew up in. It was under the blooming almond trees I found myself a teenager thinking about romance. I want to land in those olive groves, on the Mediterranean golden leaf. That's my land. And walk as much as my feet can take me. That's my home. Oh God, it hurts. Think of the homeless. Where is home? I think it's my shadow. Or is it in my heart? Is it in my brain and in my thoughts? Is it in my poems? Oh yes, I'm a poet. I live in my words, and that's my world and my home, where I thrive in constant argument with my own words, where the metaphors are harsh but meaningful and real, and they hurt. I asked the sky to take me home, but the clouds cried. I asked time to stop running, taking me to another home. I asked the rain to love me, and she told me that I'm all of the above. I wrote this for me and for you and for all of us. Planet Earth is our home for now and for here, until we move to the next home, to our future permanent heavenly home. Where is home? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marula. What a wonderful question, and what a wonderful question to be thinking about in the context of global unrest and you know, and the idea of borders. Yes, where is home? Indeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Peter Mitchell. Peter Mitchell, I see, lives in Lismore, so I hope, Peter, that you're not too inundated. Peter lives in Lismore on Widjabal Waibal country, and Peter writes poetry, memoir, short fiction, and literary criticism. His poetry is published widely. Poems are forthcoming in Mantissa Poetry Review and Chariot Press Literary Review in the USA. His second poetry chapbook, Conspiracy of Skin, was published by Ginninderra Press in 2018 and was highly commended in the Wesley Michael Wright Prize for Poetry. His third poetry book, Deep Black Ice, and first full-length poetry collection, Wild Risk, await publications. Guiding Light. Thank you, Peter. Over to you.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
All good.
Oh, great. I'm going to read, well, to answer your initial question, no, I live on the side of a hill, and fortunately I wasn't inundated. I had many friends, nearly lost their lives and had lost everything. Anyway, I'm going to read two poems, one longer than the other. And the first poem is called Journey of an Archway. Journey of an Archway. 1. At the Goongar acreage on Bangsalang country, a careful laurel, sun faces. The sky's lion speaks light day and night. Year by slow year, day by slow day, growth brings seasonal stories about nearby trees, some long gone, some still present, or a community of devotion. 2. The owner, the carpenter, treats revolutions around the tree's base. Head bowed with reverence, his feet make maps on country and intuits camphora secrets. A chair, stool, and archway are companions and have waited eons to reach out and meet the gathered peoples. 3. He picks a ground near branch as thick as 3 forearms held together and as long as a spire. His fingers circle the axe's handle as questions of angle, curve, slice, and weight are considered. He slams the tools, it glints the morning air. A deep cut reveals honey-rich hardwood. Mystery guides the shaper's fingers. A hard plane, straight lines roughness, nails seeing the hammer's downswing. 4. Now this timber grows in stacks on the workbench. Inside each length, the grain beats and flows more than the tree has ever wondered, ever known. This resonance lays new patterns, new stories to tell, stories that bind earthly matters to those not of this earth, this time. 5. The wood carver arranges a steam box, a cooking pot with a coat hanger inside it. These wires elevate the wood as the steam of change bend the lengths to archway curves. Later, the beams, plinth, and other pieces are blocked together as one deified piece. 6. In the church, the woodworker and others install the archway, hammer in the final cogs. Now a bow of light, deities, devotees, and devils enter this building on sacred country. All this gathered wood resonates with the great old stories too, that every action, every utterance is a prayer. Dust motes, like half-remembered sins, float in the yellow air. A passage of departure, the deities and devotees leave, but fallen angels, even with wings folded tight, cannot depart through the archway. For now, they will pray in silence. Will they remember their deepest names from times past? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter.
My second poem is called Between the Sun and Pluto. I am a word man. In my bedroom, each book is a planet of plot, characters, dialogue, and setting, a solar system of words. Boxed under the bed, to be read books spin on their axis and wait and watch. It is the ever-present waiting that words do. Some to be read revolve between the floor and the bedside table. Gravity pulls them to rest on the bottom shelf, as if an exploring asteroid. These worlds rotate next to the top shelf and land on the cotton sheet, exploration complete. Through the night, a pocket of light launches these stories. Do these words speckle the galaxy like celestial dust between the sun and Pluto? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. Sorry to interrupt you earlier. That was really great. Okay, well, last but not least, let's have our last speaker for the evening, which is Pri Victor. Welcome, Pri. Hi, Pri is a musician, could we guess, a school teacher and a mother, as she says, of 2 wild toddlers and a brown dog. She resides in Melbourne and has delicious plans for her concrete backyard. However, all that has yet to come of it is fodder for her poetry and a growing appreciation of grey. There you go. Nothing like nuance in poetry. Thank you, Pri. Over to you.
I don't remember writing that bio.
That was you. You did it.
Thank you, Rose. And thank you so much for putting on tonight. It's so nice to have a sense of community. It's been a wonderful night. So tonight I have 2 poems. And the first is titled, It Was Not a Bird. It's a new poem. It was not a bird, the car that sped away, the others that did not stop. A blind spot contains no injury. Vulture necks hunched behind tarmac stained glass. It was not a bird, bleeding stale beer at my feet. A viscous limb striking through glass crumbles. Their song a crash, brown shit. A mistaken step to bow in this curtain call. But to touch reality on the stinking path, 1,000 edges silked in shattering. Thank you. And my second poem is just happened a couple of weeks ago when I was at the dog park, and I've titled it, it's a set of 3, but I'm just reading the first, and it's titled Like Water Off a Human Skin. He liked my dress. The colours remind him of home. Am I from back home? No. I look like I am? No. His ma painted with those exact colours, he said. Ma had skin exactly like mine, same lips, different eyebrows, but hands drizzled air. He asked my name, said he knew someone with my name who once lived in a refugee camp. Do I know her? No. He said I look like her. She has 2 children, a boy and a girl. I do too. I said we must have the same love. He started singing Where is the Love by the Black Eyed Peas. My voice coloured his, tongue knew every word. He laughed, yelled, I knew it, I knew it, I knew it, and ran, a white flash of teeth. Thank you.
Thank you, Pri. How wonderful the things that happen in the dog park, eh? And how they can get translated into poetry. Thank you so much, all the open mic speakers tonight. I really appreciate your generosity in putting your work out there and sharing. And thank you for all the wonderful people who are responding in the chat. That's really, I think, encouraging.